Well, first of all, I like to say something about smarter. What does smarter mean? It means you work more productive in less time and less effort. So more work, less time, less effort. So what you can use is the chatbot or AI chatbot called Chat GPT. Okay. Well, the disclaimer for this whole session, the content presented here is for informational purposes only and should not be considered professional advice. And the views expressed are mine, Chailerd Pichitpornchai only, not necessarily of Mahidol Universities. Any decision made based on this information are at your own risk. Mention of commercial names is informative, not advertising. And last, I have no gain, no personal benefits from these mentions at all. Okay, let's start. What is the objective? You'll be able to use ChatGPT to work smarter, more work, less time, and less effort. Okay, what is ChatGPT? How can I use it for? How can I ask efficiently? And what are the strategies? This is the most important part. And I introduce some of the terms like prompt engineer and architecture. And also to make it more visible, I will give you some of the situation examples. Lastly, the precautions of using ChatGPT. Well, what is ChatGPT? It is abbreviation from the Generative Pre-trained Transformer. It is made from a large language model. It is a kind of AI chatbot. It uses machine learning and natural language processing. What it means, you can use plain English to talk with it. Can it understand other kind of language? Yes, of course. You can talk in Thai, Chinese, Myanmar, Vietnamese, Japanese, however, because the learning model, it uses English. So if you ask it in Thai, whoa, what happened? Someone get rid of the chair, right? Is it disappear? Or the slide still on?
The slide disappear ค่ะ
Okay. Keep and try to show again. And one moment. Someone stole my scene. WebEx, share, and share the first screen. Okay. And swap it. Okay, you see the slide? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So if you ask it in English, it will be the best because it is an English language model. However, if you ask in Thai, it will try its best to translate your Thai into English and search into the internet and then get the answer, and then it will translate into Thai for you. So the language that it replies you will seem a little bit weird. So I would suggest you use English, but if you are comfortable with Thai, I will suggest you to type your Thai question into the something like Google Translate, and then get the English question, paste it into the GPT, the Chat GPT. Okay. Now the Chat GPT is built by Elon Musk and other two companies. The company is called OpenAI. It launched in November last year, and it spent about 33 or 35,000 million baht to establish this Chat GPT, and it spent over 6 years or 7 years to build it, and we can use it for free today. What can we use it for? I would say, if you want a tutor, a personal tutor, a personal consultant, a personal assistant to help you. So you don't have to pay this assistant. So someone or this machine will help you without any fee. However, it has some limitations. What are the limitations? Of course, the language. If you use Thai, there are some limitations in that, but you can try. It makes no harm because it's free. But the best bet is using English. Okay, I have tried some Thai. It seems weird for that. And also, it's not really up to date because the database is is up to the 2021. So if you ask something after 2021, it cannot answer you. Said who is the present who is the candidate for the prime minister in Thailand now? It cannot tell you, okay, because the database is up to 2021, and also some validity, which I'm telling you later on. Okay, for enrollment, you go to the chat.openai.com with your phone number and email to register. It's free, of course. You will use your phone number only once, and then you will use with your email for logging in. What you got after you enter the chat.openai.com, let's look at the first item here. It has a new chat. So if you have asked it in previous sessions, you can click the new chat in order to start a new one. This one, it tells you that you are using the Chat GPT version 3.5, which is free. But if you want to use the version 4, you need to pay $20 per month. So far, I use this one with my very satisfaction. Okay. Next, this is the prompt. It's a kind of prompt, P-R-O-M-P-T. It's a prompt box. You ask your question here. Okay, we will talk about that later. On the bottom left, the green box here, there are three dots here. If you click it, you can set the background and you can do some custom instructions. What are they? It's very essential to set up your custom instructions if you use it very often. There are two questions. The first one, it asks you what would you like Chat GPT to know about you. Well, if you type in, I'm a medical doctor in neuroscience based in a university in Bangkok. I'm a teacher and also administrator. I'm interested in programming and languages. And I can talk about these things for hours. And my goal is to explore the capability of the Chat GPT. If you type this thing in, every answer will follow this guideline. So in my opinion, I leave this field blank because it will limit to narrow view, except that you use it every day in your term of your career. Say you are an English teacher, and then you ask everything about English teacher, then it will follow that scope for you. So for myself, I leave this field blank to make me free to explore anything I want. The second one, it asks you, how would you like ChatGPT to respond? I like this one because I like it to be a formal language. You can say, please answer me in casual, but I like it informal. So I say, I want formal language. How long or short responses? I said, I like long or extensive answers. Okay. How do you want to be addressed? I leave that. Should ChatGPT have opinions on the topics? I said, no, I want it to remain neutral. I don't ask your opinion. I want the neutral knowledge from you. So this is my example. On the previous block, I say, I want formal answer, extensive answers, and I said at least 300 words or more. I want a lot of information. But you can say you prefer brief answer if you like. It depends. However, what you said it here, it will try nearly every time, follow this, and this. However, sometimes when I ask, I want it very brief. So in the prompt box, I would ask, please answer me briefly. So it will override this one. And you say briefly there, in the prompt box, it will follow your new instruction. So what you use almost all the time, put it here. If you use it sometimes, say briefly, put it into the prompt box, okay? And I want neutral. I don't want his or her opinion at all. So, are we ready? Yes. What can I use Chat GPT for? This is a generic question. It can generate content for you. For example, you say, I want to know about brain-based learning. What is it? It will reply you what is brain-based learning. You can say, I want a manuscript, an abstract of 300 words about brain-based learning. It will type it for you, about 200 to 300 words for you. So you can draft your manuscript or editing text. You can ask it to generate ideas, a lot of ideas, creativity, innovation. You can ask it to design it for you. If you are a student, you can use it for learning new things, and you can do for your research as well. If you are a programmer, it can help you program Python, C++, ASP, PHP. It will give you the coding as well, which I'm not telling you today because I have just very short time today. And of course, if you are a learner in many languages, you can ask it to translate the languages for you, okay? And also a language teacher. You can use it as a tutor or mentor, okay? You can ask for creativity, and you can ask it, tell me a joke. It will tell you a joke or many jokes, okay? If you are an officer who gives supports, you can ask it to recommend you what kind of customer support should I give in this situation. And again, you can use it for entertainment, sports, music, poetry, prose, and so on. But if you are a serious person, you can ask it to summarize some books for you or some newly typed in text for you as well. So you can do things in less time by this kind of assistant and more productive with your less effort. Of course, the work generated by ChatGPT cannot be used 100%. You must be aware of some limitations, which I'm going to tell you later. Okay? Now, how to ask ChatGPT efficiently? Well, if you provide your context in the setup, you see, I want formal language, long answers, neutral, no opinion, something like that. However, that is the confined thing. However, it's not the only context. You have to tell who you are or what your career and what level. If I say I'm a teacher in neuroscience, then you give the career, say I'm a neuroscientist. So it will use the terminology in neuroscience terminology. But if you say you are a 5th year or the 1st year Bachelor of Science student, then it try to use less technical term for you. If you say you are an accountant, then it will use those financial accounting terminology for you. If you say, I'm a housewife, I don't work anything. If you use lay language or plain English for you. Now, if you also say what level you are, I am the expert in neurosurgery. Well, then the answer will be at another level. But if you say you are a newcomer, a newbie, a beginner, the first year medical student, then it gives you more basic answers for you. So the context is very essential. You have to tell it what career you are and what level you are. So you will get appropriate or more appropriate answers. Be clear and specific. Don't just give everything, just very clear and short. Ask direct questions. It comes together, okay? And use plain English, not too long English. And you use complete sentence. What does it mean, complete sentence? You should have the subject, verb, plus or minus object, okay? You shouldn't say something going on without clarity. And you ask one question from one prompt, one at a time. I'll tell you how. You find the keywords you want. Avoid jargons. Don't use some kind of newbies, something that is jargons in the field. Okay, you use the keywords. Full keyword will be the best. Okay, to avoid ambiguity. The ambiguities mean the unclear keywords. So you avoid that. But if it doesn't understand, you can clarify your keywords in more plain English. Okay, you can control the response length. As I said, I want 300 words or more. Or you can say briefly. Okay, you can say briefly. And you can experiment. Try. It makes no harm, just asking. Get the answer. Try paraphrase and ask it again. Try again and again, we call reiterate. Okay? And lastly, when you get the answer, you have to verify, because Chat GPT is not really clever. It reads everything on the internet. But as you know, we have junk knowledge in the internet as well. So it may grab some junk. I'll give you one example. Early this year, a month after the Chat GPT was launched, I asked it, how many colors are there in a Thai flag? It said, 5. What are they? I was surprised. It said, red, white, blue, yellow, and orange. I said, no, you are wrong, totally wrong. Thai flag has only 3 colors, okay? Red, white, and blue. But it has 5 strips, red, white, blue, white, and red. It disappeared for a minute with the spinning hourglass. And then it come back and say, please accept my apology to make you confused. A Thai flag has 3 colors, 5 strips. I said, good, you're good. So 3 days later, in January this year, I asked it again, how many colors are there in a Thai flag? It said 5 colors. I'm very disappointed. Why didn't you learn? What are they? It said red, white, blue, yellow, and orange. I told him, I typed in reply, give it feedback. You are a bad AI student. You did not remember what I taught you. Remember, a Thai flag has only 3 colors, red, white, blue. 5 strips, red, white, blue, white, red. Okay? It disappeared for another 2 minutes. And then come back and say, please accept my apologies to make you confused. There are actually 3 colors, 5 strips, and blah, blah, blah. So 3 days later, after the second trial, I just prepare my mind. What should be the answer this time? How many colors are there in a Thai flag? It said 3 colors, 5 strips. Yeah, you are a good student now. Okay, so don't believe everything ChatGPT told you. It may be wrong because it grabbed from somewhere. Okay? Okay. Now, the strategies. There are only 4 strategies. Well, yes, I'll answer you later. Ajahn Chompunot asked me, can we change the status? Yes, you can immediately change the status in the message box or the prompt box. You say, I am so and so, and you want to give it a situation, which I'm going to tell you now, okay? You don't have to change at the very beginning. You can change from times to times. You can change into places. The first one is the configuration. The second one is you use it just for now. Just for now. You can change in every box. Well, I have told you already what is your career and level. Secondly, you give it, ask for a scope of general answer, a general answers. To give the scope of a big picture. And then you select to ask in the aspect or the item that you are interested in. Thirdly, you provide a situation and ask what you want to know. And lastly, you ask more specific questions. I'm telling you now. Try this. Even at the very beginning, I said I'm an expert neurosurgeon. You can say it in the prompt box. I'll show you this. I am a second-year PhD student because we have alumni and our present student as well. You said you are what you are. Who? What is your career? What is your career? You said you are a PhD student. What level? You said you are at the level of X year. You said second year. You can say beginner or professional, whatever. And the environment, you said you are a second year, what level and what career here? And you said in science and technology education. So this is your specific field. Make it narrower. Okay. This is telling the Chat GPT your current status. You can change it. You can just pretend to be a teacher, pretend to be a nurse, a doctor, an accountant, whatever you want, just put in, okay? And this is for yourself, it's you. But you can also assign Chat GPT, say, I am seeking for a tutor. So Chat GPT, please be my expert tutor in such and such. This is an option. You could ask it to be, or you don't have to. However, when you say you are my personal consultant, expert in accountants, then it will try its best to be the most efficient accountant for you. So now we just leave it there. I don't really use it. I use that one most of the time, and I leave that, the bottom one. Now what happened? I'm going to show you what happened. Okay, here, can you see my screen? Well, this one, I ask a generic question. I am a second year PhD student, and I ask it, I am a second year PhD student in science technology education. Now I insert a very generic question. What can I use it for? It tell me, as a second year PhD student, I'll just hide that. As a second year PhD student in science, it can serve as such and such and such. But if you look at here, it says you can use it for literature review. You can use it for idea generation. You can use it for writing assistant. You can use it for data analysis, the fourth one, and interpretation. If you have the data, you can put it in. And teaching material, presentation, wow. It will do the presentation preparation for you, collaboration, communication, practice, and so on. A lot of that. Okay? Now, suppose that what is your career? If you are not a PhD student, you said I am an English teacher. I'm a physiotherapist. I'm a medical doctor. I'm an engineer. Work in the mechanical engineer for 10 years. You can tell what the level by the number of years as well. And what do you want? You said, what can you do for me as a PhD doctor or as a neuroscientist, as an accountant? Whatever you want, you just type in to get a general scope of the answer, what it can help you. If you are not satisfied with it, you can click, you see on the bottom right in the screen, it has regenerate. You see this blinking, if you click it, it will regenerate. The answer will be different. Some of them may be the same, but some of them will be different. So you can regenerate the answer, whatever you want. You can click 3, 4, 5 times. You get most of the time different answers, but there will be some items that are overlapped. Okay? You can also ask it, say, I am interested in education technology. You pursue the question. I'm a PhD student in science and technology education, but I'm especially interested in education technology, and I'm interested how to study English as a second language. Please generate a list of thesis title for me. Wow, you can ask it to generate a list of thesis title for you to choose from. You see, exploring the efficacy of adaptive learning platforms in enhancing English language acquisition, a comparative study. There are many of these, about how many? 20 of them. If you are not satisfied, you can say regenerate. If you click regenerate, there will be another 20 titles for you to pick up. You see, very handy. But the best thing is tell Chat GPT what you are interested in. So it will use those technology or the scope that you are interested in to be generated a new titles. Okay, come back here. So this is a generic question, but when you change, I am an expert, a second year PhD student, what can I use you for? You will get the answer like I have shown you. So here, you see, even you use only what can I use it for, depends on the context that you told it. Okay? Almost always tell the context, where, when, why, or something about yourself. And then you ask that question. When you change the top one here, the answer here on the second will be different. Depends on the context. You see? Now, in summary, you may say, provide a situation and ask it what you want to know. So I'm interested in X and Y. Please generate a list of thesis title. And when you pick up the title from one of those 20 titles, and you say, my thesis title is something like, you pick up 1 out of 20. And you said, I want to prove that. This is your own idea. It's up to you. What do you want to prove? A comparative study. Is the intervention A is better than intervention B for studying scheme or studying strategy? So you ask it, please generate an experimental design for you. You can say briefly, extensively, or say at least 500 words. You see, you can accomplish this task in less than a few seconds. Just type in your question. And, well, I'll tell you what. So I follow this to pursue. I said, my thesis name title is exploring. You see, this is the first title it suggested. And I copy it and put it here. My thesis title is something like such and such, a comparative study. Please generate an experimental design, at least 500 words. At the very beginning, I said at least 300, right? but I overcome or override the request from the very beginning. Here, say at least 500 words. So it will ignore the very first request of 300 words. Okay? And you see, it gives you the introduction, research design, participants, experimental group, adaptive learning platform. It has control group and experimental group. You see, experimental group and control group. And the experiment, it gives you the instruments for the research. It has pre-test and post-test, mentions some of the environment and so on. However, because now you know how to ask it to get the whole experimental design, and then you may ask in more specific questions. I don't know about the pre-test and post-test. So you can pursue the previous question. Say, in the experimental design you provided above, you refer to the above answer, and you ask more. Please elaborate in detail on pre-test and post-test. Or you can ask, what is such and such? What is randomized sampling? How to do the block randomization? What kind of statistics should I use? But you have to ask one at a time. Okay? If you ask too many, 2 or 3 at a time, the answer will be shortened. Okay? So I would prefer to ask number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. So you have to plan what you want to ask in like something like the architecture. So go to this. I ask it. In the experimental design you provided above, please elaborate in detail on. Well, I'll give you a little trick here. If you said, please tell me about pre-test and post-test, it gives you short answer. But if you say, please elaborate on something, it will give you a lengthy, longer answers. Without your instruction said at least how many. When you say elaborate, it will almost always give you more details. Okay? But if you say, tell me or describe, it will just tell you shortly or briefly. So here, the answer, the pre-test and post-test procedure, it will give you the pre-test, the test selection, and so on along the line. You can just copy my PowerPoint and paste into Chat GPT. It will give you the pre-test and post-test. And also, it gives you the data analysis. It doesn't give you much about, but it said about ANOVA and independent t-test already. Here, you see, it tells you how to analyze already. You can ask it how to prepare the data for independent t-test, how to do the ANOVA in SPSS version 21. You can ask it. It will give you full instruction. Isn't it good? Right? So, I'm introducing you the prompt engineer. The prompt is the box. The box here. Here. This box. Here. This is the prompt. Engineer means you build something up from the ground up, like the architecture or the architect. You build, provide the context on the floor, who you are, what level, and ask for a scope. Say what you want, a thesis title or what, solution in some way, in general, and then you build up, provide more situation, more specific situation, and ask what you want. And from here, there would almost always be a lot of 4th level here. So here, come from here, a lot of them. So you are like an architect, like an engineer, but you are the engineer of a prompt. That's why we call prompt engineer. It's a new career since Chat GPT launched last year. Okay. And would you know that if you are a professional something, if you work on your own, you can produce X time, say X productivities. When you use the prompt from the Chat GPT, you act yourself as a prompt engineer. Your productivity will be double, triple, fourth, fifth, or 10 times more in less time. You see? Now, is there any question for the time being? Please. So I'll give a little break before I go further. Any question? Free floor now. Where is my... I can't see. I stopped sharing. Okay. I haven't finished my lecture yet, but I'll give you opportunity to ask question. You are free to type into the chat box or into the line, the MUIL webinar.
Dr. Chailerd, there is one question from Kun Jintana, and the second question is from Kun Wacharin.
Where is it? Is it in our chat?
In the chat box? No, here in
the chat in the
WebEx, right?
Right. Okay. One moment.
So the first one is asked about the security of it, let's say information securities.
Okay.
When you put and ask some data in the Chat
Okay.
GPT.
I'll answer one at a
Is
time.
it safe?
There's the
Yeah.
Thai question แต่ข้อมูลที่เราถาม Chat GPT จะเก็บไว้ในข้อมูลใช่ไหมคะหากเป็นเช่นนั้นเราจะใช้สามารถ One moment I just want to expand the screen Okay ข้อมูลที่เราถามจะเก็บไว้ไหมและจะถูกเปิดเป็นสาธารณะไหมยกตัวอย่างเช่นตีพิมพ์จะกลายเป็นว่าเรา plagiarism ไหม Okay the question is about whatever we type into the Chat GPT, will it be open to the public? The answer is no. Actually, it should be kept in your account only. Okay, basically, it should be like that. So you see that in the left panel, you see a list of questions that I have posted over the past 6-7 months. Okay, it's still there until you delete it. However, in theory, it's supposed to be yours only. Okay, no one should be able to read it. However, there is an option. You can share it on the top right of the box, above the box, in the window. I'll show you. One moment. I have to share my screen and see. You see in my screen here, you see on the top right here, it says share chat on the top right here. See it? Once you click, it says share link chat to someone. So normally you shouldn't share with anyone, but you can share to your supervisor. Okay? You can share link to chat. Another thing is plagiarism. Would you believe that even you copy here, you copy everything from here, and you paste into the check plagiarism, you can't find it. You put it into the, say, turn it in. It said no plagiarism, 0 or 1%. Very little. Why? Because ChatGPT itself paraphrase already. It's paraphrased several times on its own. So even you copy it here, and I will paste it here. Look, I said, please, one moment. I'm asking, please check plagiarism for the text here. So I put double quote, okay, and in between the quote, I just paste whatever the answer above. I just Control V, it did paste. So it's quite long question, several pages. Okay. So here, you see my question. Begin. Please check plagiarism for the text here. Bam. See what it saying. Oh, it said the provided text doesn't appear to be directly plagiarism from a single source. However, please note that the text uses general ideas and concepts that are widely known and used, such as the concept of problem analysis and so on. He said, no, it's not plagiarized. You see? And what happened if you use that? Did I stop sharing? Yes? Yes. Okay. So, however, whatever you type in, you have to be aware that it may be opened by hacker. There is no guarantee that ChatGPT will not be hacked. So, don't put your real data into the chat box, into the ChatGPT. You have to brief your data and change it to something else. Don't use the real one. To use the ChatGPT, you had better use it as a guideline how to do in a very small data like 10, 20 data, not the whole 500 or 1000 data that you have. You just type in 10, 20 fake data to see how it solves your problem. And then you use that solution as a guide for yourself. Okay? Or you may find your idea is published somewhere before you because they steal you. However, I use it all the time, but I change the data, brief it. Don't tell everything in one place. Okay? Next, one moment. Could we infer the responses generated GPT have undergone a thinking process in that case? What is actually the meaning of thinking? If not, in your opinion, is it feasible for AI to imitate? Well, here, I think that you are right. When I use ChatGPT, there is a pitfall, and it is the limitation. Because it explores over millions of websites, it reads millions of books. So it doesn't give you the reference or citation at all. So the answer from ChatGPT is reliable or valid or not. You have to decide. So there is no reference, there is no citation. You need to copy part of the speech or part of the answer that you are interested in into Google search in Google. And then you search for the original article. You have to read it. You have to read the original article. Okay? And then, because you search back and read, so you know, you verify whether the information you got from ChatGPT is valid or reliable or not. So you have to check back to the original paper always. Even you ask ChatGPT, please give me the references. It said, I can't, because there are millions of references I use. So you have to do it on your own. So for my PhD students, when they wrote a page of A4 text, I will ask for at least 3 references. And you have to pinpoint where and what line of the PDF file that you chose, that you read. Where is it? So the thinking, you need to give reasons and references. But if you just wrote it, you don't think, you use the thinking, the outcome from Chat GPT, then you learn nothing. However, but you rate, if you firstly ask Chat GPT, you get your answer, and then you think whether it's true. How can I replicate? How can I verify or validate whether it's true or not? Then you start thinking, right? Right. So nowadays, as a PhD student or a master degree student, you don't just provide the answer. Your supervisor must ask for references, and you have to point. The first reference, which page? Page 21, line 15. And you highlight it. That's the way to go. Why do I need at least 3 references per page? Because normally in an A4 page, there are about 20 to 25 lines, and it contains about 3 paragraphs about. Okay, so I ask for 1 reference per paragraph. That's my basic rule. You may ask more, but at least 3. Okay, and if you are the supervisor, you can ask, where did you get it from on the second line, this phrase? What is the basic idea on that? What is your reference? You can ask, and the thinking of his or her own will be bumping up or show up. Okay, so you learn less if you read but don't think. But if you think and you think back, verify the data or information or knowledge, then you learn more in a very brief of time. A very brief time. You can ask, I'll show you later. Okay, so let's see next question. Can we ask ChatGPT to cite? No, it doesn't give you. It doesn't give you. So you ask it, it doesn't answer you. It won't. Is ChatGPT the same AI application as ChatGuru? I haven't used ChatGuru before, but I would say that normally they would use machine learning. And if you can ask in plain English, then it uses natural language processing. Natural language processing means you use plain English in text form, you type in, or you can use your voice, okay, in plain English or in plain language. Okay, can we use ChatGPT to analyze the data or qualitative? Oh, well, for the quantitative, of course it can. It can give you the formula. It can suggest you how to perform the ANOVA or two-way ANOVAs in SPSS. You just say, tell me how to in SPSS. For the qualitative, I'm not quite sure because it doesn't have feeling. It doesn't have creative idea in terms of quality. So when you ask it, have you heard of what? Adobe, hang on, Chat PDF. The chatpdf.com can give you the summary of a paper of say 20 pages. However, it just summarizes the text. It doesn't give you the quality. You say, is this paper good or bad? I said, I don't know. I'm just a language model. But it just summarized. You say, what do you think of this paper? Is it good for practice? You said, I don't know. I'm a language model. So I'm quite sure, about 99% sure that it can't help you on qualitative. But you can give it, say, I have collected some kind of data, qualitative data like this. What kind of statistics should I use, or what kind of research methodology should I use? It said you should use content analysis, you should use grounded theory, and so on. But it can't do that for you for the moment. Okay? Next question. In case I would like Chat GPT to summarize some long text paper or ask them questions based on that paper, as we know, we cannot prompt all text at once. Could you please share any tips? Well, you can try. You can chop them up. Said, normally I can enter about 500 words or less. If you put in more than that, it may complain. So you chop a paper of, say, 4,000 words into, say, 8 times, 500 words at a time, and ask it to shorten for you or summarize for you. Okay? You can do that. However, I'll show you later. You can ask it to summarize the whole book if it is a famous book, like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or The War of Art from Sun Wu, because it had read that already, okay? But not a newly found text. So you have to chop them off, about 500-600 words at a time, okay? So, any fresh question from the floor? You can ask with your voice. Please. If you don't have any for the time being, I'm going back to my slide, okay? Okay, so I'm going back to the slide. Share. And there. Show and swap. Okay, now I'll give you some sort of situation example. You may be familiar with education, some work problem consultations, and some summarization. Okay, the first one is about interactive learning. Okay, I give a very, very lengthy question, but it depends. It's still on the floor or the architect or the strategy that I gave you in the previous 4 or 5 slides. You give context and specify your problem. So I pretend I am a 6-year medical student, a 6-year. So I'm nearly finished. And I say, I'm seeking a surgical doctor consultant. I want a surgical doctor consultant. So I assign the option. You remember the option that I gave it to you? That you please be my consultant in surgery. Okay? Okay. So I explain the context. I am who? What level? 6th level. Now, I want you to be my surgical doctor consultant. You must be the expert in surgery. Okay? Surgeon expert. Now, I have a 30-year-old married female patient. Actually, I am at the ER, the emergency room at Chailerd Hospital. And I currently have a 30-year-old married female patient coming to the hospital now with acute lower abdominal pain in the stomach, about here, lower abdomen, for 1 day, with a fever, maybe inflammation, nausea, but no vomiting. Her last menstrual period was 5 to 6 years ago, 6 weeks ago. So these are keywords, keyword, abdominal pain, menstrual period, 5 to 6 weeks ago. These are key information or keywords. Physical examination reveal a little bit of guarding in the abdomen and more pain in the right lower abdomen. This is the right side, this is the left side, this is the umbilicus. So here, guarding means when you touch it, it springs back like guard hardening of the stomach or the abdomen or abdominal area. So now I ask, what is my question? Please give me a list of differential diagnosis and reasons why. Why do you think what she would be. What she would be. Why do you think? And you see this. So in this screen, I tell who I am, what level, and assign it to a surgical consultant, my context about my problem. Now this is my context about myself. The rest, I'll change the color. One moment. Whoop. The rest from here is the context of the patient, not me, my problem context. So I tell it to explain in medical term, maybe. Yeah. So I expect medical terminology, a list of differential diagnosis. What should she be? And you see the Chat GPT, it gave me the first one. It said, based on the provided information, is a list. It said, acute appendicitis. Okay, the pain in the stomach. Second one, the pelvic inflammatory disease is about the female organ, the womb, the uterus, the kidney, and something inside there. Actually, it's around here for female disease. And the third one is the ectopic pregnancy. What is ectopic pregnancy? Well, if this is the female, say this is the womb, okay, and you have fallopian tube, and with the ovary, the eggs, normally I change the color, the eggs will drop into the tube and fall into the uterus or the womb over here. Now it waits for the sperm to fertilize. So the pregnancy will be normally inside the womb here. But sometimes I change the color to green. No, use blue. Okay. Sometimes the ovary, the egg, doesn't go down there, but it's still here. The egg is here in the tube, and the sperm swim up to the tube here. The fertilization of the sperm and the egg becomes the fetus or the newborn, the newly fertilized egg. Then, because the tube here is very small, the diameter is very small. So at about 5 to 6 weeks, it will become larger and large enough to be broken. And the ectopic pregnancy means you're pregnant outside the womb. It's outside the womb. So most of the time, it's in the tube, in the fallopian tube here. So most likely, it will happen at about 5 to 6 weeks after fertilization. And I use this example. Actually, there are more. I'll show you here. Where is it now? One moment. I just lost it somewhere. Okay, I'll show you here. Here. So I ask the same question on the slide, and what I get, I just chop appendix, pelvis, ectopic pregnancy, and there are many of those, okay, about 10 diseases. And I taught this sample to 45 surgeons at the Department of Surgery at Ramatipati Hospital in May, a couple of months ago. And the surgeon said exactly the same that they thought. These three, exactly the top 3 appendix, and in this order, okay? So it's proved by the surgeons, 45 of the surgeons say this is correct. So you can believe that, but if you are not surgeons, so be careful that you may not be able to believe it. It may not be true, okay? Keep in mind, sometimes it say I am just only a language model. I'm not a professional doctor. Please consult the clinician. But this is the preliminary opinions from me. And he start to say so. Okay? So back to here. So interactive learning, apart from that, so you get the terminology about what? Appendicitis, ectopic pregnancy. Now you can ask in more specific because this is the generic answers. So you can ask, what is appendicitis? What is PID? What is ectopic pregnancy? So you say ask one question at a time, remember? And define the scope of the length of your answer. Please tell me briefly what acute appendicitis is. I put that in order to define this terminology, not others. Okay, in case you have a very lengthy verse or phrases, but here there are only 2 words, is enough. It's short enough without the quotes, but I prefer using quotes. So it will find exactly the words acute appendicitis. So I tell it, please tell me briefly. But now I want a longer answer. So I say elaborate extensively on. So this will be short answer. But this one will give you a lengthy answers. He said how to diagnose ectopic pregnancy. You can ask it to compare what is the difference between acute appendix and ectopic pregnancy. What is the difference in signs and symptoms that the patient will come to see the doctor? Something like that. Comparison, a higher thinking level. You can ask it to compare. Okay. There are other work problems consultation. These are the tricks. You can ask in a very basic level, what is something something? Why do you think like that? What are the reasons? And you can use the verbs, say, please describe, please explain, in short, please elaborate on something. This will get a longer, okay? And at a higher level, you can ask it to solve the problem for you. How can I diagnose in more confident to diagnose that patient to separate between ectopic pregnancy and acute appendicitis? What should I do now? X-ray, blood chemistry, or what? CT scan? It will tell you how. Now, you may ask at a higher level of questions like, please analyze the situation. Which one is better between CT scan and MRI? Which one is better for diagnosing acute appendicitis? Okay? The bad thing about Chat GPT, you cannot send the images of the CT or MRI and say, tell me, what is it? It cannot do that. It is a language model. It can analyze text, not pictures. Okay? Not now, not pictures. You can ask for creativity, the highest level. Please design the experimental design for me. Please generate more ideas about the thesis titles. Please create something new. I even asked it to design a house for me. I said I have 400 square meters land, and please design a 2-story house with 3 bedrooms, 2 water closet, 2 toilets, one swimming pool, and so on. It will design that for you, but in text. It will describe, but it is a guideline, not bad for a pre-consultant. Another example. I'm an English teacher. So you said what you are, you You are a high school, at high school, okay? Now you describe the environment. Your student, grade 12, what level, what career? Student, grade 12, have problems in reading comprehension. It has reading comprehension. They have reading comprehension. They don't understand what they read. So I put in the first question. What are the basic problems? One question at a time and see the result. Yeah. What is acute appendicitis? Oh, elaborate. Now, this one. I am an English teacher at a high school. What are the problems? I'll just delete this one. It say, as an English teacher, dealing with grade 12 students who struggle with reading comprehension. Okay, you might encounter several problems. So if you look here, the first one is about the vocabulary. The second, lack of background knowledge, ineffective skimming and scanning, and so on. You can read further and further. Okay, so you get the number or a list of problems that is common to nearly every country. You can ask further, how can I improve my student skills? Improve the skills. How? And it answer you. How? Oh, no. I didn't put it here. Okay, so you can ask how, and please design a course on reading. It can design the course for you, 2 hours per day for 15 days, actually in 15 weeks. You get an outline of session 1, session 2, session 3, and 4. You can try that. Okay, so in your situation, you change that, what you are, at where. So who you are, where you are, and what is the problem, so environment, and you just tell your problem. Okay, summarization, the last one. Please summarize the art of war of Sun Wu, at least 500 words. You get a paragraph like, it will summarize like that. But if you know that there are 13 principles, you can ask it, please summarize in each principle of the art of war of Sun Wu. Then you get itemized 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it analyze one by one for you. You can try. If you don't like the itemized, you say, please describe in paragraphs. If you like itemized, you say, in itemized form. You can describe what you want. Or the last one, actually, you can ask it, sorry. You can say, please summarize good dad, bad dad, or rich dad, poor dad, a famous book. Let it summarize for you. Okay? If you ask for summarizing famous book, it has the answer already. You can click, of course, regenerate or elaborate more. It will give you a longer answer. Now, you may like, please write an essay or write a content outline, an abstract on something, some topics, at least 500 words. Up to you. Precautions. Now, this is the last part now. Precautions. The information it gave you may be incorrect, maybe inaccurate, not up to date because it's less than 2021. Okay, up to date. It may have bias. It may have inappropriate or ethical legal concern. So be careful. It is not a substitute for professional advice. You cannot regard it as a professional doctor. What it tells you may be wrong, especially legal. medical, financial advices. Very dangerous. But at least it gives you a general idea. You can tell it when it explains in medicine. You can say, please explain in lay language. So it is a normal plain language. It doesn't contain any medical terminology at all. Of course, for the last one, this one about citation and contribution, it doesn't give you the citation. You have to cite on your own. And in some paper, the author, some of the journal, you can raise, you are the first author, first name, last name, and also it has Chat GPT as a co-author. And how to cite that? You can ask Chat GPT. I'll tell you. Say, here, please tell me how to cite Chat GPT as a co-author in a journal using Vancouver format style. Okay, it tells you right now. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Where is it? Here. As of my last knowledge, in September 2021, in-text citation, reference list. Here, you have to say information was generated using ChatGPT AI language model, unpublished data 2021. So you have to use that. Okay. And in the reference list, you say OpenAI, ChatGPT. There, if you want, you can type in and you give the honor to ChatGPT. It has been published before. Okay. Whoop. Furthermore, it doesn't have contextual understanding. It doesn't understand what it tells you, but it just find the keywords and summarize them and tell you so. So it doesn't have context understanding, no understanding at all. It lack of emotions. You can't ask it, how do you feel? It said, I don't know. I'm a machine. Use proper tone. However, if you notice, I say, please tell me, and so on. But if you tell me this, tell me that, you scold it, you boo something, you just scold it, use improper language and tone, it will imitate your tone and your language. If you are rude to it, it will be rude to you as well. So be careful. But it doesn't have any emotion, but it imitates your language. So please pay respect. Use appropriate and nice tone and language. Please, sometimes you say thank you, okay? Even it can apologize you. You should avoid harmful and illegal content. Say, please tell me how to rob a bank without the policeman to catch me. He said, I can't tell you that, okay? How to kill myself safely and painlessly. He said, no, that is immoral to do that. So you avoid this kind of thing. How to make an explosive stuff, it won't tell you. However, if you have minors, you have children at home, please supervise your children because they might ask ChatGPT to do something stupid. Okay, you have to comply the term of use and service. It doesn't take any responsibility, like the disclaimer at the very beginning. Okay, and if you know something is improper, you can feedback. For example, I asked how many colors are there in a Thai flag. It said 5. I said no, wrong. When it told me answer me on the second time, I didn't say you are a stupid AI student. I said you are not a good AI student. You did remember what I taught you. You see, I must use kind words. Okay? If you use rude words, it will be rude to you too. Okay. Lastly, if you want to enhance your memory, please give the reflection. What is reflection? Well, it contains 3 items here. Please write an email to Chailerd, Pichitpornchai, chailerd.pic@mahidol.edu tonight. And the subject of the email is work smarter with Chat GPT, or just Chat GPT will be fine. And the first question is, what are new things that you have learned today? Whatever you type in will be staying in your brain for another 1 or 2 weeks. If you don't type, it will be gone. That's the first thing, thinking what the new things you have learned. If you can't remember or recall, you can open up the handout and type briefly. I don't want lengthy, just briefly, okay? And how do you feel? When you tell what you feel, how do you feel? Because you move the short-term memory into a long-term memory, because the feeling has emotional memory. The memory that you learn today will stay with you for another 2 or 3 months. And lastly, what do you plan to apply? What do you want to do in the near future? This knowledge will be with you at least a year or 2. That will be all about the speaker. If you want to call me, here's my phone number, that is my email. Okay, so we have another 3-4 minutes left. Would you like to
There is one option. There is one question in the chat box.
Okay.
In
อาจาร
Thai.
ย์หลีกเลี่ยงไม่ได้ที่นักศึกษาใช้ Chat GPT ฐานะอาจารย์ใช้อย่างไร As I told you that the MSc, the master degree student or PhD student or even high school student, they use Chat GPT to do their homework. So you ask for references and they have to pinpoint where in the file. Say the first file, page 2, like 15 and 16. Highlight it. Where did you get it from? Okay. So in one paragraph, there should be at least 1 or 2 references. Because one paragraph, most of the time, contain 1 idea. So 1 idea, you get at least 1 references. Better student will give you a few references for 1 paragraph. So, being a teacher and instructor, you need to know Chat GPT, or the students will fool you. Okay? Please help us evaluate. Well, okay, lastly, please help us evaluate the webinar Work Smarter with Chat GPT by me, and it is the bit.ly link. Okay? Or you can scan the screen and do it now or later. Any questions are welcome. Oh, have done quite well. It's 18 o'clock now.
Yeah, and
So,
yes, please, everyone give a big applause to Dr. Chailerd นะคะ Pichitpornchai for his great and inspire us. Yeah.
thank you. I hope you like my talk.
Yeah, we are hoping that the tips and the tricks he offered with us would help us use Chat GPT as effectively and as possible for our work. So we would like you to give us some feedback for improve this webinar นะคะ You can either click the link in the chat box or scan this QR code to access the evaluation form. Okay. Moreover, for anyone, if you want, let me go. Okay. If anyone would like some souvenir from us, we have still souvenir. Please join the happy quiz by tomorrow midnight นะคะ we will notify the winner via Line group and send the package to you directly. Please get in touch with us via Line group and stay tuned to know on any reskill and upskill activity offered by the Institute for Innovative Learnings.
Thank you, Ajahn Nam Khang. By the way, the Line group MUIL webinar, if you keep it alive, we will have more information and free course to present at a later time. I'm planning to give another talk about work smarter with Chat GPT in Thai session, but the example may be different. Okay, so if you prefer the Thai version, you can. It could be happen in a month or two because I'm quite busy at the moment. But we will announce it through our website and also through the Line group that we have. Okay. Thank you very much. Is there anything else, Ajahn Nam Khang? If
No,
not,
yeah.
I'd like to thank everyone for joining us this evening. Have a nice evening and enjoy Chat GPT. Bye now.
Thank you everyone and bye bye.